Good evening and welcome to the Texas Music Educators Association Region 31 Wind Symphony Concert. My name is Suzanne Dell and it is my privilege to serve as a host for this clinic and concert event. Before we get started, I do want to let you know that tonight's concert is being professionally recorded by DVP Audio. So we would ask that you turn off your cell phones and devices, and do know that we will share these recordings with your students' band directors so that you can access them and have a memory of this performance this evening. Before we begin, I have to acknowledge that there is a great deal of work that goes on behind the scenes to ensure that we can pull off this clinic and concert, and I would like to recognize the organizer for this group, Mr. Riaz Mohammed from Coppell High School, and the percussion coordinator, Randall Wynn, also from Coppell High School, who were responsible for coordinating the music and equipment for this clinic and concert. We would also like to thank the band staff here at Carroll Senior High School, Mr. Ken Johnson and his staff, for hosting our clinic concert, and I also want to recognize Kim Shuttlesworth and the band staff at Coppell High School for all the work that they did hosting our auditions to get to this point. Can we please give all of those individuals There's a great deal of work that goes into also producing players of this caliber. They didn't just pick up their instrument and immediately turn into all-region players. They have been taught and cultivated and trained by some of the finest music educators in the state of Texas here in Region 31. If you are a band director or a private teacher of one of the students on stage, would you please stand and be recognized?
That's crazy.
And then finally, one of the most important pieces of the village that gets us to this point, the parents, the band parents. You've been there for the whole process, taking them to their instrument tryout night, buying reeds, buying valve oil, replacing lost drumsticks, taking them to early morning sectionals, going to private lessons, all of the things that it goes to cultivate these fine musicians. And so we would like to recognize the parents. If you are the parent of one of the students on stage, would you please stand and be recognized? On stage is our Region 31 All-Region Wind Symphony. Over 1,000 students auditioned for the All-Region Band this year, and the students that are on stage represent some of the best young talent in Region 31. Additionally, a number of these students also advanced to the area level. Those students are notated on your concert program, and I believe we also have several students who earned a spot in the Texas All-State Band. If you are an All-State musician, would you please stand to be recognized? Our conductor for this group is Mr. Kerry Taylor. He is the director of bands at Westlake High School down in the Austin area. He is a master educator and a mentor to many in our profession, and we are so honored that he has spent some of his time here with us the past couple of days. You can read a little bit more about Mr. Taylor in your concert program, and then you scan the QR code. He has been fantastic to be here. He's done an amazing job with these students. They've had a great time. And so now we just ask you to sit back and relax, turn off your cell phones, and just enjoy the music that these young musicians are going to make for you this evening. And would you please help me welcome to the stage, under the direction of Mr. Kerry Taylor, the Region 31 All-Region Wind Symphony.
so much. I want to do a program, that first piece called American Flourishes. A good friend of the band world, and especially coming from the world of composition, passed away earlier this year. His name is Robert W. Smith, who taught at Troy University in Alabama. But he was a very prolific composer, some for middle school bands, some for high school bands, even music performed by professional organizations, bands, orchestras, and choirs as well. But he was a special individual who was very caring and very helpful to anybody who ventured any sort of question of him, and he took the time to do that. So he also wrote some for drum corps, and actually that's where he kind of started with that. So he really encompassed the whole band world, if you will, and the areas that are close to that as well. So that was Robert W. Smith's American Flourish. I'd like to totally change pace. Now the next piece we're going to play is a relatively new piece, about 3 years old, and it's recently won a number of international awards, including the American Bandmasters Association Sousa Oswald Award for composition. This is called Tuber Suite, and it's based on 3 movements based on folk songs from Michigan. Do we have anybody from Michigan here tonight? Okay, so maybe you'll recognize some of these songs, maybe you won't, we'll see. Maybe we'll have a test at the end of this, so we'll see what happens on that. We're going to play only the second movement, okay? It has 3 folk songs, each one's fairly short in this. And the title of this movement is called Siren Songs, so you'll hear a lot of association with water or seaworthy type melodies that you may have heard before. So this is Andrew Perkins' Tuber Suite, the second movement, Siren Songs. Thank you so much. I'd like to change pace quite a bit for you and actually go a little bit to the somber side of things. This next piece was written by Stephen Danu, who grew up in a place called Sandy Hook, Connecticut. Steve's a fairly prolific composer, and all of you may remember the tragedy that happened at Sandy Hook Elementary School, which occurred in 2012. I'd like to read a little bit of the program note from Steve and share that with you. On December 14, 2012, 20 children and 6 educators were killed by a gunman at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. Having grown up in Sandy Hook, just a mile from the school, this is where I attended grades 3 through 5. For several years, I have thought about writing a piece of music that would reflect on this tragedy, but I have struggled to know where to start. Even after beginning to sketch out ideas for this piece, I felt unsure of where the piece should go and what it should communicate. In an effort to find a clearer sense of direction, I searched for poetry that reflected how I was feeling. When I came across Remember, a moving poem by Christina Rossetti, I found the direction I was looking for through the simple idea of remembering, not forgetting that this happened, not forgetting these children, not forgetting the grief that their families must feel. I realized this is what I wanted and needed to communicate through music. This piece is called Into the Silent Land, which is the title, or I'm sorry, the lines within the poem, Remember. Of course, we've had several things happen since then. Some right here in Texas, Uvalde elementary school, which I've had I know several friends that actually went to that school and graduated from Uvalde High School. So I've kind of taken it upon myself to play pieces like this, to remember those folks that perhaps suffered through those tragedies or passed away in those tragedies, but to keep them forefront in our minds. This is Into the Silent Land by Steve Daniel.
plan. Only remember me. You understand? Remember me when I am gone away, gone far away, into the silent land.
Wow. I hope we can all agree that the fact that teenagers, many of whom were strangers to each other like less than 48 hours ago, sit in a room together and produce something like that touches people's hearts is just truly a testament to the power of music and music education and the kinds of young men and women that are sitting on stage. I think that our future is pretty bright with these guys as the future leaders of our society. So amazing, amazing. Also want to take a moment to recognize and publicly thank one more time our incredible conductor who's spent time with us here, Mr. Kerry Taylor. If you could come out here and join me, Mr. Taylor, I would like to present him with a plaque on behalf of Region 31 that reads, "In appreciation of your outstanding commitment to Texas Music Educators Association and the Region 31 High School Band." Thank you so much for spending your time and sharing your talents with us and our students. We appreciate it.
And thanks for letting her talk so I could grab a breath after that piece. I'd like to thank the band directors here in Region 31 for inviting me, allowing me to come in and work with these wonderful students. Of course, thanks to the parents as well who support them all the time, and the phenomenal students on stage. Do you like what you're hearing this evening? I would be remiss as a past president of TMEA if I wouldn't take just a moment for a little bit of advocacy. This doesn't happen very often, okay? First of all, there's no other state, honestly, that's stronger in music education than Texas. It's a fact. The rest of the states know it too, okay? And believe me, they're jealous about it. But even closer to home, there are not many regions that have 5 concert bands and a percussion ensemble and groups that can play like this around this state. So you should be very proud of the programs that are in Region 31. You should be proud of the directors and the students and all the efforts behind it, and the administrative support too. However, don't get lax with that support and your vigilance. It requires constant vigilance to make sure that these students who are experiencing life and friendship through their music sharing, that we maintain that possibility and perhaps even let it blossom more for our students in the Texas school programs and those right here in Region 31. So parents, I'm admonishing you, charging you to make sure you maintain that here in your backyard, okay? I'd like to close with our last piece, which is written by John Mackey. I asked the students earlier how many people had played a piece by John Mackey, and I think every one of them raised their hands. John, of course, is like a rock star in the band world right now, and has been for quite some time. His music has lots and lots of energy. This piece, Until the Scars, was an adaptation from the first movement of the symphony that he wrote, actually premiered by the UT Wind Ensemble. But the symphony he wrote is called Wine Dark Sea, and it's based on Homer's Odysseus and that whole story about the Trojan Wars and those sorts of things. This first movement, which we're playing the adaptation of, is the war scene, if you will, okay? And it has a lot of that angst in there. You'll hear military drums at some point and some fanfares for us as well. If you were to listen to the Wine Dark Sea, which this piece comes from, you'll hear a second movement, which is very touching and almost innocence in the way it's written and crafted. And the third movement is more like after they rise from the sea, you know, the ship sunk and they rise from the sea and having all the monsters under the water, and then they rise up and it turns into party time, okay? So we're doing an adaptation of the first movement. It's challenging music for us to do in the 9 or 8.5 hours or so rehearsal that we have. We hope you've enjoyed this concert as much as we've enjoyed playing for you. This is John Mackey's Until the Scars.